You're on Booktube. And today, because of Roz and her tag about tags, it got me thinking about the Booktube Newbie tag. And months ago, I looked at this and I was like, I don't like those questions. I don't need to do it. I did not know there was a whole system of people finding each other through that, like hashtags. So, having learned of this and going, okay, I'll mutate the questions. I'll
shape them to my will.
I'm going to do this at like the 6-month mark, which is where we're about right now in March. So, 6-month Booktube newbie. That's still pretty much, I mean, you learn pretty quickly. It's a steep learning curve, but this is the soonest I can do it. So, I hope that's okay with y'all. All right. The first question of this tag is, why did you start your channel? And I've talked about this before, one of the downfalls of doing this a few months later. And the reason I started this channel was because the marketing message of choosing a lane and sticking to it finally sunk in. And I looked at all the different things that I was trying to do in various measures and thought, I don't like any of these. I don't see any of these working for me. And I thought I would turn to YouTube. So far, it's been better than my experiences on other platforms. So basically Facebook and Instagram, I have an aversion to because of how they're run and who owns them and the tendencies that they encourage. So I never feel quite comfortable on those platforms, and I try to avoid them if I can. Google, it also has autocratic tendencies and throws its weight around in a monopolistic fashion, but I feel like they're a lot more hands-off and letting science and science's biases take the front seat rather than other things. So this means that in my channel, I have basically found a way to talk with people and feel like I am being part of a community rather than check a box and try to appease an algorithm, although there is some of that on Booktube. It just feels a lot more like talking to a person since you're talking to an actual camera. So it's the best way for me to engage with other people in this community and talk about books, and that feels the best. Question number 2, what are some fun and unique things that you bring to Booktube? I said life experience, earnestness, passion, and that's my sort of earnest answer, and then the other level is Broadway belting, Scottish trivia, and cat antics. Although he's not performing right now, he's kind of tired. So, I don't know. I think everyone has a different personality, and you just see who you click with whom you click, and, go from there. So, hopefully I'm being authentically me, and that brings something fun and unique to the Booktube community. Question number 3, what are you most excited for with this Booktube channel? And the reason I started it and the reason I'm most excited for this medium is that I have a desire for community and community without gatekeepers. And as I've said a couple times, this platform and the way people interact, even with small audiences, feels the most democratic to me because, yeah, you may get trollers, yeah, you may get spam, but people are also just watching because we're just talking to each other and listening and engaging and putting opinions across the ether, and trying to find people who think the same things or are willing to engage in thoughtful discussion. And I don't have anywhere else for that. I don't think many of us do. So that is a precious commodity, and I'm very thankful that I get even a little bit of it here with you guys. So, question number 4, why do you love reading? I don't know how many people have said this is a stupid question, but it is. I want to quote that, I want to use that quote: the man who reads lives 1,000 lives, the man who doesn't lives merely one. I'll look up who that is and put it here. But I like that idea because reading is about experiencing more than you could possibly with your own time, and in doing so, cultivating compassion for other people's experiences and learning how to do better. So, check, check, check. All those things are on my list to do in this lifetime. Question number 5: what is the book or series that got you into reading? So, I have a handful of children's books that I keep with me here at the house, even though I don't have children, because otherwise they would have been thrown away, I think, or not appreciated because no one, because my sister's kids did not want them. So I have them here, and I don't read them, but they're nice mementos of childhood. So I have 6 that I'll point out to you to answer this question of what got me into reading. So for anyone out there who has fiddled around with the Enneagram, I am a number 4, which means I like to feel special. So when I was growing up, my parents would take us to Knott's Berry Farm or places like that, and they did these things that are personalized books. So you would go in and you would tell them your name and you'd answer like 5 questions, and then they would print out the book on a like terrible, I don't know, fax machine like printer with your answers so that it looked like it was you. I'm the welcomer, and who are you? I'm Peggy Pinard, and this is my brother Billy, Peggy said. So Peggy is the name I had when I was a kid, my nickname. So basically you got to be in your own book. So this is what maybe started me off thinking that I was going to write books someday. Who knows? So there's that one, and there's also another type of one, the Tooth Fairy Mystery, and this is the same sort of thing. They would ask you questions like your name and where you're from, and then they'd type it on the spot, and you would come back in an hour or whatever, I guess, and have your own personalized book. So that was really cool. There's also the children's books that you got signed. So I remember reading this book many times, and this for Peggy by the author and illustrator. And if Aoife of Words of Clover is watching, these people came to my town several times to do readings at the bookstore, and I remember going and asking and just being wowed, and I'm not sure what age I was, but Audrey and Dawn Wood also wrote a book that Aoife was just trying to remember, and I supplied the name and sent it to her in her comments, so that was kind of a fun connection I thought I'd mention. And then these other ones, I've got 2 more that came out of the fact that I started speaking when I was in England. And so I've got Postman Pat and I've got Paddington at the Tower. And these were things that I had lunch boxes and just early kid stuff to reflect my interests. And I remember growing up and loving these books. And so that was definitely part of it. And then for some reason I have this one. Does My Room Come Alive at Night? And I remember reading this. And again, it's autographed from the author, to Peggy, who loves worn-out blankets. Me too, Othello Bach. And obviously, I apparently told this author all about my baby blanket that I still had at age, 8 or whatever. And so it's just, fun stuff. And I never think about those. So thanks to this tag for making me go back and read and remember those, because remembering how it felt to be a kid is a unique sensation. It's pretty neat. Question number 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Well, I ask questions of my favorite booktubers all the time because we all put comments in each other's comment boxes, but I'm guessing this means like the big time booktubers. I don't know. And it's funny, I was just on Instagram and a live with V.E. Schwab popped up. She's one of I followed her for a couple of years in terms of how she was becoming an author, because it was a really interesting period in her getting totally huge and famous in her author journey, and she was really frank and open about the problems and the issues that were coming up, and she just had a really authentic way of dealing with that. And I don't have that problem yet, but I really appreciated her engagement with her audience. And she was talking about this topic, and so if there was a big booktuber who could tell me about this, this is what I'd ask. How does the ratio of creative work and administrative work change over time? She and another Instagrammer were talking about how much admin there is and how you just need to pay someone to do it at some point because your unique product is getting knocked down on the list of things to do because you can't manage everything on your own past a certain point. And I was like, okay, what's that point? Because people are doing a lot more than I am and, managing. So this is just an interesting question. I assume, delegating at some point means that ratio shifts. And I'm just wondering how for booktubers that might work out. Because the algorithm helps them or they put it, well, I don't know. I watched Catherine Manning. She's a huge YouTuber, but she blogs about, or not blogs, she vlogs, and it's very meta. I'm not sure what her beginning topic was, more like Pinterest and stuff, but now it's like how to succeed on YouTube, so I can't really say what her channel is about, except helping other people with YouTube, and she's still doing lots of administrative stuff, but she somehow makes it exciting and engaging, and that's the tricky part. That's the secret. So, yeah, I want to know more about that. Question number 7. What is the hardest booktube problem to overcome? So there's technical things that I'm following YouTubers for, etc. But with the video stuff out of the way and, changing my copy of the iMovie to figure out how to do picture-in-picture, that finally got done. But for the bigger picture, I'd say the biggest hurdle is not getting carried away with what other people want you to do. So remembering why you start and keeping firm hold of that purpose rather than getting pulled in too many other directions and then wondering why you're doing it all. So mentally keeping the sense of purpose for myself and not getting, as I said in my notes, trained to pellets. And you know what I mean? Like a rat that keeps pushing down on a lever for pellets because it's been trained to obey whatever algorithm the scientist wants, in this case Google. So I'm really trying to keep that in mind and make sure that my decisions about videos and lives and frequency and topics and all that stuff is true to wanting to foster community and not just for trying to grow subscriber count, even though that goal is in there. Question number 8, when did you start reading? I don't know. This is another kind of a dumb question. First or second grade, I said because those are my favorite teachers and I'm sure they inspired me to read. So first grade was Miss Clark. She sings he plays the violin. I have this memory of being in junior high and visiting with her before I went up to the high school. And she just sort of like talked about the song and how it was silly and she didn't like it. And then she just sort of rolled it out with this beautiful soprano. And I was like, what? How did I not know that? So she's a great singer. And then second grade teacher, Mrs. Porter, and she had the funnest classroom ideas and engaging reward systems, I guess. And she's still a friend of the family, even though she's been to Saudi Arabia and back. So so those two favorite teachers are probably when reading came into the picture and made it a favorite activity as well. Question number 9, where do you read? For the past year, it's been in a chair, in the bed, on the couch, on the concrete patio when it's warm and still enough. Basically anywhere. I mean, the floor is not that comfortable, but sometimes I try to switch it up. That's, pretty much anywhere. When I travel, I try to read in the train, on the plane, not in a car. That makes me sick. Not while walking, although I can listen to audiobooks. So, Yeah, anywhere basically. Question number 10, what kind of books do you like to read? And I'll answer this. Good books. Because just like that quote from Persuasion, my idea of good company is the company of clever, well-informed people who have a great deal of conversation. That is what I call good company. You are mistaken, said he gently. That is not good company. That is the best. And I love that quote. So I just thought I would bring that up in terms of what type of books do you like to read? Books that are clever, well-informed, and conversational. How about that? But no, to be more specific, I generally go for historical fiction, engaging nonfiction that will teach me something, and underdog voices in particular. So, especially with the new releases in the past couple of years, there's a lot of non-white, non-straight, diverse voices, and I've been making an effort to read more of those in the mix. I don't do stats every month, but hopefully you see that in the one video per month that I dedicate to wrap-ups and TBRs. And so keeping it in one place, I think, helps me keep an eye on what the overall picture is. So that's something that I've come around to doing instead of 2 separate videos. I don't know why. Because there's so much I want to pack in and share out. So, stick that admin stuff in one. Question 11, what does your collection look like? And I live in a 1-bedroom apartment, and I think I will put up some photos here. Spots where I store books here, and hopefully it doesn't look like I'm gonna die under a pile of books. I'll be okay. Don't worry, I'll be okay. Yeah, so that's the Booktube Newbie tag. Wrap my knuckles for being late, but I guess I needed a little community encouragement before I put it out there. Glad to be here and happy to be making friends. Thanks, Booktube. See you next time.